I've been recording for the past bit. Should we do an intro?
Are we recording?
We have been, yeah.
Well, crap.
New degree, who dis?
I am Gary Roberts, the official holder of the plum in Lodge for Harmony Lodge number 21.
Very nice. I am AC Ransom, the holder of the moon.
We almost have 20 episodes. Almost
Yeah.
20. 16, 13, something like that. So we're almost big time. So once you get to 20, it's you have a tendency to be... You'll continue doing it once you hit the 20 mark. That's the rule of podcasts.
We darn near stopped there for a bit.
I know.
I was like, is this just how it ends? Like it slowly fades out of existence?
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't let this happen. I really want this to keep going.
Yeah, I do too. I like the ability just to be able to come and just talk.
Mm-hmm.
Talk with another brother, male adult, and not in a work environment.
Another grouchy old man like me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because, man, I spend 10 hours a day at work, and then I come home and I spend more time at work, and weekends are mine.
It's the only time you've got to yourself in adult life. It's got to be sacred, man.
It does. It does.
Like, I have no qualms in saying no. Somebody's like, hey, we should do this. I'm like, nope, sorry.
Yeah.
I've got stuff. And actually, that girl I was dating, I told her, like, with the exception of, like, you know, because we were discussing the future a tiny bit, just kind of like, you know, because, you know, we're both experienced and all. It's good to hash things out, you know. Anyways, I was telling her that, like, stuff like the meetings on Saturday and, like, degrees and the business meetings, stuff like that stuff is as close to a non-negotiable as you can get, with the exception of, like, you and the kids are sick or something. Because outside of that, like, there's no other time that, like, I can actually claim for, like, myself, you know? And granted, there's always exceptions, you know? Like, if you get engaged, you just stop showing up, you know?
Yeah. Then you'll get sick of it and want to come back. When you realize she's in charge. For that little while.
Anyways. So.
Let's not make it about him.
No. I just had to throw in that little rib again. I'm not sure how much of this so far we're going to be able to use. It's been here and there
it's
and
just
around
random
places.
all over the place.
But.
Maybe it could just be like little blurbs.
Yeah.
Little pieces of wisdom. From AC and Jerry. Ding, ding, ding.
You're right, though. Just a little jingle. Starting our own podcast. Didn't you have a topic idea from last week?
I did.
What was it?
But
It was
I
a good
didn't
one.
follow through, though. Books or movies that we think have Masonic leanings that most people might not think about.
Ooh.
I got to do some studying, though. But I do. I mean, just for a teaser. I mean, like, here's one that I was thinking about. So, I'm a huge Marvel fan. You know, anything sci-fi I usually get sucked into pretty good. But I was into comics books as a kid. So, when the Marvel multiverse came out and they started, you know, making all these movies that are so interwoven together, I was, you know, that's like the bee's knees. But one movie that came out that I absolutely hated after I watched it was Doctor Strange, the first one.
Oh, wait, you hated that one?
I absolutely hated it.
Really?
I hated it.
That's the one Marvel film I actually like. I hate the rest of them. They're all the same, and that one's actually different and cool and got some esoteric stuff in it.
It is, but I watched it before I became a Freemason. But after becoming a Mason and watching it...
It's a redemption story.
Oh...
Yeah.
And now every time it's my go-to movie when I have like a few minutes and I just want to watch a portion of a movie or something like that. I'll go watch it and I'm like, oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that last time. What about that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's huge. That's esoteric.
I'm so glad you like it. I thought the story was kind of like, I thought I would because of the esoteric stuff, but I don't. And I was like, no, Gary, no. No, it's the one Marvel film I will voluntarily watch.
Really?
At any point, yeah. Somebody's like, let's watch a Marvel film. I'll be like, if it's Doctor Strange, I'm down. If it's not, I'm gonna go read a book.
That's interesting because, yeah, I absolutely hated it. I was like, oh, this storyline sucks. It's horrible. It's not really in line with the comic. It's pathetic. And
that would make a big difference if you were familiar with the comic. Then
Yeah.
that would make a difference on how you see it. See, I wasn't.
I've read a lot of the comics, and technically, none of the Marvel movies are really in line. That's why it's kind of a multiverse thing. It's no different than what's his name, Jackson, with the Lord of the Rings. You know, he had some artistic liberty and took away from Tolkien's stuff, but made 8+ hours of movies. But
I'll bet you we could fill a podcast with us discussing the things in Doctor Strange.
we could,
Maybe
we could. That would be fun.
He's even assaulted by 3 dudes.
Mm-hmm.
We all know why that's important. The rest of the world, not so much. Like, actually 3 guys. I think he even knocks 3 times when he first arrives.
I have to
I have to go back and rewatch, but I think he might even knock.
Because that's what's become interesting about the movie for me, is I go back and I'm like, that's Masonic. That's Masonic. That's Masonic. And so I want to go back and research the authors and that kind of stuff and see if there's any ties.
Or see what they were into to
get them to spin it that way, because the comic books have Doctor Strange's comic books are esoteric in nature anyway, just because of the nature of what he is.
Yeah.
But to see the ties to Freemasonry in it is pretty cool. Now it's become one of my favorite Marvel movies. But at first, it sucked. Absolutely horrible.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
I've been reading the Bible for the first time this year. And I've actually quit the last couple of weeks because I've been trying to get this stuff done or read better for this for the books class that I'm in. But which this book is, oh my gosh, so tough to get through.
The How to Read a Book, dude. I think we discussed this last time.
That guy is so long-winded, man. It's pretty much a book. I'm to the point now where you should summarize the book in a single sentence or two. And I'm like, here's my single sentence. This guy is pontificating on how many books he's read and wants to let you know about it.
He epitomizes that word you just used, pontification.
Yes.
It's so hard to... It's very important stuff to take in, but oh my heavens, is it so hard to get through. You're just like, I'm bored, I'm done, like, each chapter could be a pamphlet.
Yes.
And I'd be fine.
Yep.
Actually, I think we did discuss this last time, but it wasn't recorded.
No, it wasn't.
No. But yeah, no, it's...
Yeah. So, I cannot wait to start the Iliad.
Yeah.
But I got 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
Just pull through.
I'll have to jump in. But yeah, that book is horrible hard to get through. It's got some good information in it, and I'm going through it. I'm just highlighting out the pieces that are really relevant and what I need to focus on. And
but you have to.
It's like edit the book down to 5 pages.
Oh, for sure. It's like the Beatles music. There's a lot of just absolute crap in there.
My daughter's going to throw a fit when she hears this.
Are there some good things? Yes, but you have to wade through Olympic-sized pool of before you get to anything worthwhile, and even then it's like not that much.
You just got our podcast boycotted.
By your kids.
By anybody that's like over the age of 60.
Look, you guys...
Which is a majority of Masonry.
Dear, gentle, kind listener, you can like the Beatles. It's fine. We have a disclaimer for a reason. These are my thoughts and my own. I hate the Beatles.
I'm not a fan of the Beatles either.
Thank you. Vindication.
Some of their songs I like, but a majority of them I don't. I'm not a fan like my 18-year-old daughter.
When current bands do a cover of a Beatles song, they're almost always amazing. Like, they're almost always... people are like, oh, this song is so great, and I listen to it, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't like it. Then a band will cover that song, and I'm like, well, this is really good.
Give it a modern twist or something like that.
Yeah, I think it just needs something really besides the nothing that the Beatles had going on. Like, I'm sorry, boomers, but it's not great. Okay? Catcher in the Rye ain't great either, just because you guys have said it was great for decades now. Don't mean it actually is. Let's phase out the Beatles. Let's phase out Lord of the Flies. all this bull crap. I'm sorry.
Just set shivers up my spine. That was a book I had to read as a kid. Still gives me nightmares.
So I read it because I was told it was like great classic literature, and it's, you know, everybody should. I read it. I was kind of like, this is kind of more like disturbing, and I think that there is more to it than like the surface level what goes on in the story, but I still think it's not as deep as people think it is, or as great as people think it is. So
I think a lot of books are that way. We've been told they're classics by these people who know, but really it's up to us to decide what it should be.
I think a book like, so in the Great Books program that we're both doing now, the books that are chosen are the ones that have persisted, that reference books before them, that get referenced by books that come after. You can see the chain. Books like Lord of the Flies ain't going to be in that chain 100 years from now.
Right.
It's going to be forgotten. The Beatles will be forgotten. No, I actually don't know.
I don't think so.
That might persist beyond.
There'll be some epic bands from every era that will always stick around. So, you know, like Hendrix will always be on everybody's list, and
yeah, Van Halen.
Yeah, Van Halen will be there.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus will be there.
Boo.
She will.
I don't think your stuff's that great, man. I don't think your stuff's that great.
I don't know. Some of her stuff lately has actually been kind of fun. Their covers.
See, like, I'm not completely against modern music, but the majority of it, again, is like the Beatles. There's a lot of crap you gotta wade through to get to the good stuff.
Yes.
Slam number 2. I'm on fire.
I used to listen to country music a lot as a teenager, and I quit listening to it somewhere in my mid-20s just because it started becoming very repetitive and was very much like pop music is now, and I didn't see any difference in it, and I'm like, every now and then there's still a good country song that'll come out that I'll listen to and play over and over again, but man, not much anymore. Much modern music I don't listen to, so if you pull up my phone, people make fun of me because my music is all over the place. There's not one genre that I stick to. I've got classical music in here, I got country music in here, I've got electro, I've got pop. Doesn't matter. I got some weird stuff. Gary.
I am the
but
exact
it's all
same
older.
way. I am the exact same way. You shouldn't stick to one genre. That's like eating like one thing for your entire life. It's like, wait, there's more food out there.
Exactly. Except for you're eating chicken flavored rice every night.
Well, hang on. There's a lot more in it.
I know.
I forgot to add, and I don't even know if the first part of this, when I describe what I'm eating, will even be in the podcast. But there's so few calories in that cup of stuff that I make. I can actually put in a serving of shredded cheese and sour cream in it.
Oh, really?
And it's still only 334 calories per meal.
Wow.
That's amazing. Worth it to me. It's delicious.
It's worth losing 30 pounds over, I think. That's amazing.
Let's see. I'm trying to find...
I would love to lose 60. If I could get down 60 pounds. Happy camper. And I'm not an overly fat dude. I do have a good carbohydrate belly.
Do you know Buddy Holly?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you didn't know I didn't know about him until the Music and Ideas podcast. I don't know how much time you have for podcasts.
That's what I'd listen to it at work just to keep distraction.
Well, the Online Great Books has a podcast, which I recommend. I'm sure you already know about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've told you about it like 50 times. They also do, by the same people, Scott and Carl and a guy named Trent, they also do the Music and Ideas podcast.
Really?
Yeah. If you type in Music and Ideas, you have to scroll a little bit to find it, but it's good. It's good. It's very good.
I'll have to pull that one
They gave you whiplash with like they'll go from classical to like rock to funk to like country. Like, it's amazing.
Screamy metal too.
They have done a metal one. Yeah.
So I even have bands on here that are like Mongolian heavy metal.
Oh, wait. Is it The Who?
Yes.
Yeah, buddy. They're good, aren't they?
They're awesome.
It's so good. That Mongolian throat singing or whatever.
It is, and it sounds really cool.
There's a version of the Wolf Totem song that has the lead singer from Papa Roach on it.
Yeah.
That I think is better than just their plain one alone. Because it just adds that. Oh, it's so good. Glad you liked them, dude. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I'm happy to find somebody that has the same strange taste in music that I do.
I get comments all the time from people who's like, it's not often you can be in a car and go from this genre to that genre in the matter of 2 songs. Yeah. I'm like, cool, variety is the spice of life.
Yep, that's what I hate listening to a single song over and over again unless I'm in a certain mood.
So if I find a song I like, I will repeat that thing for 2 days, maybe more.
Oh, yeah?
Until, and even then, I'll stop after that much time, not because I'm tired of it, but because I know if I keep listening, I'll get tired of it, and it won't be as fun when it comes on next time. So I have to apply self-control, and after a day or two, I'll be like, okay, I have to stop. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, I can listen to that song nonstop.
I used to be that way, and then while I was serving a mission in Florida, one of my companions, a very big music buff through his teenage years, just got me in the habit of listening through albums all the way through and enjoying the whole album and not just a single song. It drove him nuts to repeat a song. He could repeat an album, but he would never repeat a song. And I picked up the habit, and I've been more that way myself.
A lot of the people who make the albums, it's arranged in that order for a reason, to give you that experience. Mm-hmm. And sometimes even a story of and so...
Well, Pink Floyd The Wall, that is totally a rock opera all the way through from beginning to end. And you can hear it when they play the music on the radio, some of the popular songs. You're like, why is that instantly cut off? Why does it swing in, It's got a hard cut. Because it was meant to be 1-2 hour song, not a 4-minute bebop.
I'm sure I've shared this story before, both to you and on this podcast. The one time my family was hanging out at my place, and I referenced the song, Another Brick in the Wall, And TR's like, what? And TR says, what's that from? I'm like, you've never heard Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd? I might be getting the title wrong a little bit. I don't know. He's like, what? No, I've never. I'm like, you what? So I grab my phone, I grab my headphones, the nicest ones I've got, and I put them on. I'm like, don't come out until it's done. And I press play. I'm like, how have you never heard that song? I was like, dude, I'm not even in, I don't, heavens, I'm not a big Pink Floyd fan. I've never really taken the time to explore them to become a big fan. But I know that song. And I was like, how have you never, what rock have you been under?
Of Pink Floyd, yeah. So, when I was doing construction up in Pocatello, that was the music that my uncle had on his radio all the time, was classic rock there in Pocatello. And they would play Pink Floyd every 10 songs, So I got intimately familiar with it, and some of the music videos, or the rockumentary, if you will. I don't know the official term because, I English no good. But they actually have a film that goes with the whole music. It's actually pretty incredible.
Really?
Some of it is animated, and there's a story that goes through the whole thing, and you're like, yeah, it teaches some lessons. It's got some interesting thoughts. Makes you think a little bit. There's some of it that's a little pornographic if you look into it deep enough. But
if you try hard enough,
it's an amazing piece of art in my mind that combines both a visual and an audio effect, and both of them are needed.
See, there's some people who just I know a brother. He doesn't live around here at all. Who dislikes movies and TV shows. Very few does he actually like. I'm like, I feel like you're missing out on a huge medium of art. Because, not all movies are great, but some movies, really are art, Yep. It really is, it's like you were saying, it's not just this, it's, you get both sound and a picture from it, and so this is a slight change of topic, I guess, a little bit, sorry, but I'm like, dude, you gotta, find the good movies, which means you might have to watch some ones that aren't that great, but, some of them are amazing.
Well, how do you know, well, this comes from your and mine LDS background. But how can you know the good without seeing the bad?
Yeah.
You don't. You've got to.
There's a reason.
You got to see both.
Yeah, there's a reason that the Bible starts out with that story.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's duality in existence. It's just gotta. You don't have to be a Christian or a Jew to believe that. Like there's a reason it's one of like those really, 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 really old stories that's been passed down since before the Jews. You've got to have both.
Yeah, and you see it in psychology all the time, in sociology all the time, that people that, and I don't want to say this isn't a bad example, but we do see it sometimes in LDS culture. You see it in other very religious cultures as well. I saw a lot in the South, Southern Baptist, etc., where parents would absolutely shield their kids from something.
Too much so, yeah.
Yeah, to an extreme, and whether that be, you can only watch rated PG movies, and you could only listen to this kind of music, and you couldn't eat sugar, and as soon as those kids left the house, man, they flip.
They go wild.
Extreme to the other end.
Because they've never had the chance to breathe before.
Yeah.
And so, like, you get let out of the cage, you start running.
Right.
Like...
and we've seen it so many times that usually that has an adverse effect, yet we see kids that are raised in a balanced approach. And I'm not saying you got to show your kid murder in order to appreciate life.
Here, Jimmy, here's Pornhub.
Yeah.
But this is bad, so just today.
Just today, so you get it out of your system. No, but I mean...
That's the worst example I could have thought of.
But you could introduce your children to the human body is not a bad thing.
Don't hide them from.
Don't hide them from art. Don't hide them from. I mean, there's all sorts of good expression of the nude form in various places. You can show your kids that and an appreciation of that, so they're not ashamed of themselves.
When they do see, like, when they are in, like, the like the 7th grade, and they open that textbook and there's a booby, and they start giggling, like, there's a, they be mature, and, like, who cares? It's a,
It's a normal person. Half the planet has one,
I'll compare it to, guns.
Yes.
Guns are very safe. Especially around kids who are of the proper age, to be taught how to respect and handle them correctly. You don't need to keep that gun in a safe place because the kid knows. He's been taught this is dangerous, this is how you use it, this is when you use it, and then it's safe. I'm not saying you leave it lying around. If anybody's getting upset, anything I'm saying is because they're putting words in my mouth and they're being a dumbass. Anyways. But like... yeah, jackass. But, if the kids are informed on how to respect this thing that can cause harm, then it won't cause harm. It'll be just fine.
But if you hide them from it... It will be a tool, not a weapon.
Yeah, and if you hide them from it, and then one day they find it, it's going to get misused. That's the way it be.
Right.
So...
Yeah, I'm totally... I mean, like, even with food, you have... the same thing. I mean, you limit your kids from donuts and candy and all that kind of stuff as kids, like giving them a taste every now and then or something like that. They're going to crave it when they get away,
Mm-hmm. They're going to get a chance to have cold cereal each day. They're gonna. Here's
this variety of foods, and this is why we eat more vegetables than we do carbohydrates, and so when you're in your late 40s, you're not a fat diabetic guy, You learned how to eat the right things.
So here's the question. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you can teach the kids the right stuff, but how do you make them care?
You can't. I mean, it's like back to our discussion last week. I can't force you to respect me. That's something that I have to earn or something I have to do. Kids are the same way. I mean, we give them the opportunity. I mean, that's why we send them to school. That's why they go to college, is to learn this breadth of information and then take the slices out of that are pertinent to them and make themselves into what they want to be.
So I guess yeah. I mean, you're right. You can't make them care. You just teach them the right things and hope that their experience leads them to be like, oh, there was some truth in that.
Yeah. Always drove me nuts with parents who said, my kids are going to be a doctor. Yeah,
I hate that too. It's like, let them choose.
Let them choose.
And if you do that too much, then they end up 29 years old and in a dead-end job. I don't know where that example came up just now. I don't know who I was thinking of, but they end up indecisive and poor.
No, I think, in all fairness, I made that same decision when I was in your age too.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I was in the same slot.
Well, I think a lot of it came from, not to make this about me, since Jason's gone.
It's all about you.
It's all about me now. The AC Ransom podcast featuring Gary Roberts. Where in the hell is that going? Oh yeah, you're pressed so much about gotta choose a degree and a career field and you stick with that. That it was such high pressure that for a long time I was like, I don't know what to choose. I don't want to spend all this time and money on something that I might hate later. And so I was and that's why I didn't choose for so long. And finally I was kind of like, well, I've got to do something, and the audio production and all that other stuff, But I think that's part of why, is because the college thing was hidden into me so much,
Yeah, and I worry about pressing my kids too hard that way. I've had an 18-year-old daughter that's at that point in her life. She started down a path of a dental career path, and now she's at a point where she's like, yeah, maybe this is not what I want to do. I still want to do medical, but maybe I'd rather be a registered nurse like my mom is, you know? And so...
And she's really young, right? That's the
She's
perfect
18.
time to
It's
go.
the perfect time to make
spend
changes.
2 years doing something else. You'll be 20 by the time you come back out. You got plenty of time.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of time to make choices and stuff like that. Yeah, she's making money now, and she'll have to go back to doing a program similar to the one she's completed again to do the nursing side.
Mm-hmm.
But she has an opportunity to do that. She's in a safe place. She can still hang out at her parents' place, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so she can save on rent if she needs to.
Yeah.
It's just fine, yeah.
So, but I worry about going, nope, you've already spent 2 years of your scholarship money doing this thing. You need to take the road to the end,
Nope, when kids are adults, they're, I want to say cable toe, but that's not the word. Their leash becomes... No, not their leash either. I think the point at what...
What do you guys do at your parents' house?
Oh, my heavens. Yeah, exactly.
Jason!
I think the point at where you intervene to give advice or anything like that, gets restricted. Kind of we'll just let them learn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna... Yeah. You gotta, and as a parent, it's kind of hard to let go because you've been watching over and protected, and you want to go, I know what the best path is for you, but I really don't. They know what the best path is for them. I need to worry about my path. Mm-hmm. I share my path with a wife. Those are the only two I'm worried about. The kids will take care of themselves.
The hosts of the From the North podcast are providing this podcast as a public service and for their own selfish motives. It is neither a legal interpretation nor a statement of any Grand Lodge, local lodge, or any Masonic body or Freemasonry in general. Any reference to any specific product, subject, or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation. The rantings, tomfoolery, and views expressed by the guests and the host are absolutely their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them, any Grand or local lodge, or any entity they represent.
Olympic-sized pool of...
You just got our podcast boycotted.